Welcome back to another Python tutorial. In today's video we'll be doing Python turtles, and for this exercise we're going to be trying to make a shape generator. And the way this is going to work is we're going to be able to enter the number of sides for our shape, and then it'll automatically draw it for us. Alright, let's go ahead and dive in and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is try to draw a couple simple shapes on the screen, so maybe a square and a triangle, and then we'll try to use that to come up with a formula so that we can just enter the number of sides and it automatically draws the shape for us. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is say import turtle as t, and then we're going to start by drawing a square, so we're going to say t.forward. And inside here, let's just go ahead and put 100. This is the distance. And then we're going to say t.left. And let's put 90 here. This is the angle. And since a square has 4 sides, we can either copy and paste these two lines 4 times, or the better way of doing it would be putting this in a for loop. So I'm going to say for I in range. Inside here is going to be the number of times it's going to repeat, so we want it to repeat 4 times. And then we're just going to highlight these two and press tab so that they belong to the for loop. So what this is going to do, it's going to repeat these 2 lines of code. So going forward and turning left, it's going to repeat that 4 times. So let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. And if I could spell, that would be helpful. So forward is F-O-R-W-A-R-D. Let's try that one more time. And there we go, so we have our square here. Let's go ahead and see if we can modify this now to draw a triangle. So the first change I'll have to make is a triangle has 3 sides, so I only need to repeat this 3 times. And then for my angle, it's going to be 120. And now we have a triangle. And let's try one more shape. Let's try a pentagon. So here, this is going to be 5. And then for this angle here, it's going to be 72. Alright, let's go ahead and run this. And I see I have my pentagon. Alright, so let's go ahead and try to make this more general so that all I have to do in the future, instead of having to come up with the angle myself, I can just enter the number of sides and it automatically figures that out. So the first thing we have to do is we're going to create a variable called sides. And let's go ahead and set this equal to 4 to start with. Okay, we saw here that this number here represents the number of times the loop is going to repeat, and that also corresponds with the number of sides in our shape. So what I can do is, instead of typing a number, I can just put the variable here. And whenever I change this number, it'll change it here as well. So right now, since sides is equal to 4, this loop is going to repeat 4 times. Okay, the 4 doesn't really need to change at the moment. What's changing each time for the different shapes is the angle. And let's try to think about this for a second. So when it was a square, the angle was 90. A triangle, the angle was 120. And we saw that a pentagon, the angle for that one was 72. So what's happening for this? There's a theorem in geometry called the exterior angle theorem. And what this says is, for all the exterior angles on a shape, they're going to add up to 360. So what we're actually doing for this left turn here is we're turning for an exterior angle, which is an angle that's on the outside of the shape. So when we have the square, what we can do is we can do 360 divided by the number of sides. So 360 divided by 4 is 90. For the triangle, there's 3 exterior angles, so it's 360 divided by 3, which gives us our 120. And then for a pentagon, there's 5 exterior angles, so 360 divided by 5 gives us our 72. So the formula to figure out what the angle should be, it should be 360 divided by the number of sides. And since we're storing that in a variable called sides, I can just put that variable right here. So what this is going to do, whatever number we put for sides, it'll stick it right here. So it'll repeat that many times, and it'll also use it to figure out what the angle should be. Alright, so let's go ahead and run this and see if it works. So right now, I have sides equal to 4, so it should draw me a square. Very good. Let's try it with the triangle, so I'm just going to change 3 here, and we'll run again. We have our triangle. Let's try a pentagon. Very good. And let's try some with more sides. So let's try one with 17 sides. Okay, so it drew one with 17 sides. We have a slight issue though. It's off the screen. So what's happening, the more sides we have, the larger the shape is going to be. So let's see if we can fix that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make this smaller as it gets bigger and bigger. So we can try something like 100 divided by the number of sides. And we'll see how that looks. Okay, that's a little bit too small, so let's make this number a little bigger. Let's try 500. Okay, that looks a little better. Let's see it, make sure it still works with the other shapes. So if I try 4 here, yeah, and that still looks good. Alright, let's try something crazy. Let's try one with 100 sides. And that's kind of interesting. So we can also see that as we increase the number of sides, it gets closer and closer to a circle. Alright, so this is going to be the end of this tutorial. So what we did in this video is we created a shape generator that all you have to do is enter the number of sides you want for your shape, and it draws it for you. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next one.